Today we're bringing cozy vibes into your home decor with unique thrift store finds and charming sunflower touches. Welcome to the Chic Show. Today's playlist is hosted by Lola D's Creations, Lady Red Crafting, and Lavender and Lace. Their channels and the playlist are listed in the description box below. As a musician, I am drawn to any kind of music books, especially anything that is old and raggedy and vintage looking. I found a lot of these at the Goodwill bins. I find them at various thrift stores all over my area. But I have stacked up a few here, or Stormy and I have stacked up a few here, and we're going to make something lovely out of these. Now I'm using an old sheet. I'm tearing it in strips along with this lace to tie around the stack. I didn't have anything quite long enough to be able to use one long strip, so I cut separate strips for this project. I thrifted this beautiful sunflower for 50 cents this last weekend, and I thought it would be the perfect addition to this little shabby chic music stack. I'm using one piece of sheet music for this project. Now I have 3 books here, and I'm going to be making a fall book stack, and this one I'm going to be covering in this piece of old sheet music. I'm just kind of measuring it out. I'm going to use a glue stick and just glue it along the cover. This is not going to ruin the book at all. It's just going to cover up the actual book cover. That I have the outside glued to the cover, I'm going to go to the ends and I'm going to cut a little snip there that we will cut off at the end. And then I'm going to go inside the book covers and cut a little notch at each corner and glue the paper around the edges of the cover. Each time I cover one of these books, I learn something from the previous time, so I do them each one a little bit different. So I've cut off these edges, and now this book is ready to set aside, and we can move on to the next one. This is a sample sheet of wallpaper, and it has a sample of the wallpaper on the right there, and then on the left is supposed to be like a close-up of the area of the wallpaper that's in the black square. So I'm going to cover 2 books with this piece of wallpaper. And again, I'm just measuring it out here. I am going to go ahead and crease the wallpaper where I need to for the book's binding on the end, and that way it will make it a little bit easier to place. I pulled the backing back. This is self-adhesive wallpaper, and I just pressed it down, and this time I'm going to go ahead and cut out those notches to begin with. And of course, once I have one side covered, I pulled the rest of that backing paper off and I finished up the second side. And here's the finished look. Now on with this third one. As I said, I do it different every time. I'm trying not to let that little black place on the front or back show. On the back, it's not going to matter because it's going to be stacked up. So I've gone ahead and made those notches and cut those out before actually placing my book down. Now all 3 books are ready to be stacked, and in order to do that I'm going to be using some of this jute twine, and I'm going to wrap it around 3 times both ways, and then I'm going to tie a double knot on top. I added another thrifted sunflower to the top of these books, and I love this color combination. Nothing says cozy like a candle. So I'm going to be using a candle that I already had and this thrifted candle holder along with a scrap piece of lace that I actually cut off an old shirt. I'm going to be wrapping this around the candle, and while this is not necessarily a sunflower, the edge of this lace kind of reminds me of sunflower petals, and the way it lays over this candle holder is just very shabby chic and elegant. I used a little bit of hot glue to glue the lace to itself. I didn't actually glue it to the candle, and then I just kind of pulled it down over the top of that candle holder. Another thrifted item that I got at a church sale just this last weekend is this piece of canvas. It looks almost like it was meant to be a pillow cover, and that's exactly what we're going to make from it. I'm going to iron out any of the wrinkles that I can, and then I have placed inside just an old calendar because I'm going to be stamping onto the front of this pillow cover. This is a sunflower stamp from IOD, and I have never used most of these. I have certainly never used the bigger ones. So when you do use a stamp, you do want to season it by sanding over the top gently, and this allows the ink to stick a little bit better. So I have added the ink only to the sunflower. I didn't add it to the leaves around it so that I don't have to take them off of the backing just yet. It's best to have some sort of a backing to place your stamps down. I'm using this little hockey puck to run over the top, and I've got a perfect imprint. Now, IOD stamps also come with what are called masks. So if you want to layer your design, you would need masks to cover up part of your design, and then you can stamp on the rest. Now this mask, I'm just masking off really for the bottom part of it because I'm stamping this stem and I didn't want it to extend to the front of the flower. We want it to look like it's behind the flower. And when layering stamps, you want to put whatever design you want in the front to show like it's standing out in front. You want to stamp those areas first. Then you would mask your areas, and you'll see that here. This sunflower I've placed on top of the mask so it won't actually ink up the actual stamp, and as you can see how that flower looks like it's standing in front. I'll do the same thing for this third flower. I did go back and add some hot glue to the bottom of this pillow cover once I had it stuffed. You could also sew it if you preferred. This is not sunflowers, but it kind of reminded me of sunflowers or the look of a sunflower field. This is actually a photo that I took from my hometown, and I just love the way it turned out. So I printed it off from my computer, and I just added it to this vintage frame that I recently thrifted. Now, when I got everything put back in there, I didn't really like how white the border was on my paper. So I ended up cutting the picture out and just gluing it to that backing paper that was already in this frame. So again, I'm just using a glue stick here, placing my picture down, and then replacing it in that frame, and I feel like this has a much cozier look. I hope these cozy vibes and sunflower home decor ideas gave you fresh inspiration and brightened your day. I would love for you to let me know down in the comments which project was your favorite, and don't forget to check out the playlist in the description box below along with our host channels. You will find lots of inspiration in all of these talented creators. I also want to invite you to my account over at Instagram as well as on Facebook at The Chic Show DIY and on my website lachicshop.com. Here's another video I think you might like. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.